Chocolate or vanilla? Heads or tails? Rock, paper, or scissors? Some topics lead to endless debate, and you can go ahead and put Jordan versus LeBron on that list. Neither side of the discussion is ever going to move from their stance, but more often than not, both sides can concede that it is truly a GOAT topic. So let's dive in and take a look at why LeBron is the right option, much like vanilla, heads, and rock. These GOAT arguments can take a million forms. Who had the best prime? Who won the most? Who achieved the most relative to his peers? There is an extreme context that comes with each of these avenues, and there's only so much time in the day. In terms of longevity, how does King James not wear the crown here? He is going to finish the season north of 1,400 regular season games on his resume. Think about that number. Jordan's number is 1,072, and over 13% of those games came as he was playing out the string with the Wizards. That means we got Air Jordan for only 87% of his career. A career that is going to be well over 300 games shorter than that of LeBron. Oh, and did I mention that playing out the string portion of Jordan experience? Not there yet with LeBron, not even close. The dude went for 31, 15, and 8 in the season opener this year against the reigning champs. There are plenty of arguments for MJ that I'm willing to hear, but in terms of longevity, it's LeBron by a country mile. Let's talk production. We're in an era of nuanced stats and tracking metrics, but let's leave all of that behind for now. I'm going to keep it to easier to digest numbers. For his career in the NBA, let me say that again. For his career, LeBron averages over 7 rebounds and over 7 assists per game. Jordan, he had one season averaging 7 in either category. Let that sink in. What Jordan accomplished once is normal for LeBron. It's a different game today, you might say, and that's true. So let's drill down on per possession numbers. LeBron is pacing for a 13th season, averaging 10 plus rebounds per 100 possessions. Jordan didn't do it once. LeBron already has 9 seasons on his resume with 10 plus assists per 100 possessions. Jordan, 0 such seasons. Like I said off the top, of course there's an insane level of context that comes with all of this. Yes, Jordan's era was more physical. Yes, LeBron's era features better athletes and smarter coaches. You can choose to weigh that sort of thing as much or as little as you'd like. I'm here to give you the pro LeBron side of things, and when it comes to measurable versatility, the game of basketball has not seen someone do what the king is doing for as long as he's done it. Hey you, yeah, you there in the back. I see you jumping out of your chair bringing up the finals record. Undefeated. Perfect. Clutch gene. I get it, but let's settle down for a bit and take a look at the full body of work, shall we? First of all, I'm not penalizing LeBron for dragging lesser teams to the final series of the year. What sense does that make? His legacy would be greater if he lost earlier in the playoffs? What? I'll step off my soapbox now and get to the data. In terms of a career playoff series win rate, Jordan does hold a slight 81% to 78% edge. That difference is not only razor thin, I'm almost positive it's much closer than you would have guessed. LeBron was able to elevate his team to playoff contenders faster than Jordan, and was the guy on playoff teams longer in his career than MJ. With a similar win rate, I find the walking dynasty of LeBron slightly more impressive than the dynastic Bulls during the Jordan years. LeBron is the infrastructure. Jordan was a big part of it, but he had a franchise built around him. He had stability. Even if you want to blame some of LeBron's unstable surroundings on him jumping around, a perfectly fair point by the way, the point remains he's been winning playoff series at essentially the same clip as Jordan amidst it all. Now we are going to go off the court for a minute. We are talking the GOAT label, which by definition is a subjective title. We have all the advanced stats and crazy acronyms we can handle, but there is no one single metric that we all agree on when it comes to labeling cross-generational greatness. That much we can agree on, yes? If that's the case, legacy is going to be a part of the picture. Jordan has plenty of positives that will follow him forever. The killer instinct, iconic moments, the shoes, the quotes. But he also has some red marks on the old record. I mean, he elected to play minor league baseball during the 1994 NBA season. Whether you think he was burned out or it was a punishment handed down in some sort of conspiracy situation, the point remains, at the peak of his powers, he left us. That was in the 90s. We've entered the social media age since then, and LeBron, unlike almost every other figure with the platform, has avoided a major misstep. He's built schools, spoken up for underrepresented communities, and he's lived up to the hype. LeBron James has been a lead topic on SportsCenter basically the entire millennium. And what's the biggest gaffe he's made? He bought his mom a Hummer when he was young. He refused for a long time to sign long-term deals. It's impossible to describe how minimal things like that are in this era, and that's part of the debate. To be the GOAT, your image has to stand the test of time. And there's no reason to think LeBron's doesn't. The good far outweighs the bad on Jordan's end too, but with the bad, there is up against a squeaky clean LeBron that puts him a step behind. Last but not least, how you leave a first date is important because that is the last impression the other person has of you until you meet again. It's like that in these legacy debates too, but there never is another true meeting. Our last impression of Jordan was a lesser version of himself in a goofy-looking uniform after a messy divorce with the Bulls and a 3-year retirement. Not ideal. If his run as an NBA owner was successful, maybe some of that damage would have been undone. Of course, we have no idea how this LeBron thing is going to end, and sure, his Lakers don't look poised to make any sort of noise in the short term, but he's going to become the league's all-time leading scorer, and he has a chance to be the first father to play with his son in the NBA. You're telling me that's not a reasonably high note to go out on? Most of the all-time greats struggle to hang him up at the right time, and LeBron might not be any different. But with an all-time record within his grasp and a potential feel-good story in playing with Bronny, or against, yeah, I said it, the kiss goodbye we get from the king is likely to be one we are more than okay with. So there you have it, the argument for LeBron over Jordan. I'm mature enough to admit that there is no truly right or wrong answer in this debate. We are talking about two icons, not just in basketball, but in the history of team sports. The game we know and love would not be the same if you removed either of them. That's a fact. But if you disagree with me, we can't be friends. That seems to be the rule on this debate, and who am I to stray from it?